Breastfeeding is a way to build a loving relationship with your baby, but sometimes establishing that loving relationship can be difficult. Joining us with tips is Jody Costanza. She's the owner of Grow in Northampton, and she's with her son Logan, who is so adorable.
Thank
and
you.
He just turned a year. Happy birthday, Logan. Breastfeeding for a first-time mother and father can be a very difficult thing at first, especially if you don't have the support. So you're going to give some tips to help.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we used to grow up and be surrounded by people breastfeeding. That's how babies were fed. It was the only way babies were fed, and so that's what we knew. And now that's not true anymore. Many children have never seen breastfeeding before. Logan has his own ideas today. And so they just don't know. They've never seen it. So it feels unnatural, or you see things on TV and it feels difficult, or it looks difficult.
Right, because it's not something that you see every day. So getting educated before your baby is born, knowing the facts, that's very important, and it's really will make it a lot easier to transition.
Absolutely. So one of the things you can do is you can go to a new moms group before you have your baby. You can go to a La Leche League meeting before you have your baby. You can go to a breastfeeding class. Many of the hospitals and organizations in the area have breastfeeding classes, and there's lots of ways you can get educated. So that's really important.
And the support is so important.
Support is critical.
Once you do begin breastfeeding, because it can be very discouraging if you've never done something like that before, of course.
We know that when women are supported in their breastfeeding relationship, they are much more likely to maintain a breastfeeding relationship longer. And so support means friends, it can be family, it can be their partners. The partner is critical to their support, but definitely family, extended family, and friends. So the more support that they have, the more likely they are to breastfeed longer.
Yes, and having that support can be whether it be your doctor, your pediatrician, a lactation consultant, your partner.
Absolutely.
And I'm very impressed with how you're, well, a mom, multitask, of course. Very impressed with how you're doing this, Jody.
Today.
I know, he's so cute. But I think that the hard thing for partners is that they don't get to feel that bonding experience that the mother gets to experience. So do you have suggestions for the partner how they can be involved in that same way and actually try to develop the same bond?
Sure. It's funny because lots of people will say that, like, I want to bottle feed the baby because I want you to have that experience. And the breastfeeding relationship is really critical. And if that's the way that moms are able to feed their babies, that's what we hope for. That can be the best way for them. But there's lots of ways to feed your babies. But bottle feeding so that someone else has that experience is not necessarily going to be the same in that bonding, because breastfeeding involves eye contact and skin and smell and taste and all of these things that it's just not quite the same for a partner to be doing to try to bond. So bathing is really important. Nighttime routines is really important. Dressing them is really important. So there's lots of ways. The more that maybe mom breastfeeds the baby and then the partner takes the baby and goes off and goes for a walk, gives mom a little bit of a break. There's all sorts of things that partners can do to connect and bond with babies.
And that skin-to-skin contact is great too.
Oh,
now,
it's so important for everybody.
A lot of moms, once they do master, they have that time off from work, maternity leave, and they do master it, but then it's the transition back to work, and they have to find a way to be a working mother and still breastfeed.
Yes.
Suggestions for them.
Yeah, so you can actually learn about pumping to support your back to work time. And so, the wonderful thing about the new healthcare legislation is that breast pumps are now covered, so folks can get a breast pump and not have to pay very much or any out of pocket. So that's really important for folks to know, that you don't have to rent one and you don't have to pay $400 to get a really great breast pump. Your insurance will cover it.
It's wonderful.
It's wonderful. And that, there's lactation consultants in the area are highly trained professionals who learn a lot about breastfeeding and have a lot of information about pumping and bottle feeding. Right. So talking to a lactation consultant before you go back to work can be really important.
Yes.
To get that support, to get information, to think about pumping. Pumping is not easy. It's a challenge, and it's something people have to really commit to.
Yes.
And when they do that, then and they're supported, then they can be successful in maintaining a long-term breastfeeding relationship when they're outside of their home and away from their baby.
Right. Now, so the keys are be educated, make sure you have support, and know that when you do go to work, everything is on your side. You should have that place to pump. You will have a pump that's covered by insurance, so you can make it work for you.
It's protected by law. I mean, breastfeeding in public is protected by law.
Well, Jody, you've been, we'll let him go. You've been wonderful. Logan's been up. There he goes scooting. This is very impressive. He'll have to do a segment on how he scoots on his bottom.
Maybe he was going to want a nurse while we were here.
He's so cute.
Put it on television.
Thank you, Jody. I appreciate you being here. And Logan, great job. Very good job. No, you were wonderful. Great. Thank you, Jody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can see these tips again on our website, mymassappeal.com, later today.